You're listening to the Marne Report.
Hi, Fort Stewart-Hunter Army Airfield. Kelsey here, back with another edition of the Marne Report podcast. Today, I'm joined by our special guest, Emeline Hastings, who is the Employment Readiness Program Specialist for Fort Stewart Army Community Services. Today, we are going to talk about employment opportunities for spouses and some of the programs that are in place. Thank you so much for being here with me, Emeline. How are you doing?
I am great. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited. I think this is going to be a good podcast for people out in the community, so I'm excited.
Okay.
But before we get started, do you want to share a little bit more about yourself and your role?
Sure. Basically, I am the Employment Readiness Program Specialist. I have been doing this for quite some time. Before I came to Fort Stewart, I actually worked for the Air Force for 16 years. I've been on Fort Stewart for 3, but I've been working for the DoD for 23 years. So
Oh, wow.
I have a load of experience in different things. One of the things I will say is I know the part a military spouse plays because I was a military spouse. I still consider myself one. My husband had retired a good 17 years ago. So when I understand and what it means for spouses to look for jobs and trying to figure out what their skill set is compared to what they could get out in the workforce. So I kind of have a good working knowledge of that.
Yeah, you bring a lot of value definitely in
Yeah.
those different roles, and I think you definitely, thank you for helping the families of Fort Stewart for that.
Of course.
And Hunter Army Airfield, of course. So, as you said, what services are available through your office, and who are they available to?
So let's go with who are they available to first.
Okay.
So who are they available to? So anyone who holds a DoD ID, and when I'm talking about our military spouses who are veterans, our military spouses who are widows, I can service them. Those who are civil service. Again, they hold an ID card, so I can go ahead and see them. Transitioning service members, I can see them, but there's a caveat. I can see them after they have completed their entire TAP program.
Wow.
Now, the reason I say that is because TAP and I are pretty much parallel. They take care of all our transitioning service members, but once they are out of the military, they can see them or I can see them. Both ways work. However, with my program, the top person is the actual military spouse. Now, what do I do for everybody? Well, that can be anything from helping with job search skills, learning how to write a resume, reviewing resumes, learning how to interview correctly, learning how to dress for success, how to actually apply on USA jobs. And that's one thing everybody has.
I was going to say, that's probably your biggest thing.
Everyone wants to know, like, why can't I just hand in this resume? Well, private sector resumes, which is the ones out off post jobs, and federal resumes are two different formats. So I teach both kinds. And when I have pretty much any individual come up and they say, I don't understand why I couldn't get that particular job. Well, because number one, your format's off, or number two, you didn't target your resume. And it's important to target resumes. And what I mean by that is you fashion it to the actual job announcement out there.
And I feel like that would apply to both the private
yes.
and the federal government. It doesn't matter either way, yeah.
Definitely. That's what people are looking for. I have a lot of people who also say, well, I think I tried to, or why does it matter? Because you may forget to put something in your resume that they were actually looking for. So for example, if company A is looking for someone who knows Microsoft Office, and even though you know Microsoft Office and you use Microsoft Office, if it wasn't on the resume, it never existed.
Yeah, you got to put all the skills.
Exactly. So I go through all of that, and then I also do a little bit of career counseling. So anyone who's not sure what they want to do for a career in the future, we go over interest profiles, see what suits them and their interests at this time. a lot of people say, well, a job and a career are the same thing, and the answer is no. A job is, I want to go out there, I'm going to go get paid, and then come home and call it good. A career is, I wake up, I actually enjoy going to this place to do what I do best and get paid for it all at the same time.
Are there specific things that, when people come to work with you that you wish they knew up front, like, hey, bring this, bring that, or even just a mindset maybe?
Well, number one, I always ask everyone to try to make an appointment. That's the biggest thing, because I have so many people, well, can't you just see me today? No, because if we're going to talk about jobs, it's going to take a minute, more than just 5 minutes of your time. What I ask everyone, if you've got a resume already, email it to me. Yeah. I've got an email. Make an appointment and then email me your resume ahead of time. That way I can take a look of what we're working with. And if you don't have one, and that's okay, if you've never written a resume in your entire life, best thing to do, and it's the easiest, and I'll run you through the exercise if you're still uncomfortable, is brainstorm. At my last job, these are the things I did. Mm-hmm. Okay? So if your last job, a lot of people come in with the mindset, I was only a cashier. Okay, well, what do you do as a cashier? Because when I hear cashier, all I hear is someone taking my money and giving me change.
Yeah.
But I was just talking to someone earlier. I was just a cashier, really, because what I see is you also cashed in and cashed out registers. You went ahead, took care of customer complaints. You took care of cleaning the area up, refilling drink dispensers. You had worked on ordering stocked all the items in the store. That's not just a cashier. That's a whole lot of other things, and they can take on different titles in different areas. So come in with a mindset, you are more than what the job title says.
Exactly.
It's always more than what the job title says.
I totally agree with that, and that's definitely the key, I feel like, to making a resume.
My thing is even especially our spouses, don't come in with an attitude, I was just a spouse. No, you're not. No military spouse is just a spouse. Mm-hmm. There's no such thing. We do everything, especially when our active duty member is deployed. We become, and then if there are kids involved, we become the babysitters. We become the cooks, the chauffeurs. We do the budgets. When it's time for PCS season, we do the logistics. And when I mean by logistics, we plan of what gets shipped first, what's packed first, what's thrown away. We do all of those things and more. So when I have spouses that come in and say, oh, I'm just the spouse. Nope, you're not just a spouse. Because otherwise, you're the spouse, but you say you homeschool? Yeah. So you're actually a teacher, right? I'm like, oh, yeah. And are you the one scheduling people for appointments? Yeah. All the time for everybody? Oh, yeah. I was like, okay. So you know how to schedule. So you do admin. That's one of the things I would wish a lot of our employers understood. Military spouses have so many skills. Mm-hmm. You just have to let them say it and expand it and try them out. Yeah. That's the biggest thing of all. And those spouses are so skilled, it's ridiculous. Now, it's just all they need is that chance to show it that's outside of the space.
Exactly, yeah. That opportunity is the key. And especially opportunities and networking and knowing the right person changes everything in someone's career and life.
Exactly. And knowing that networking is big. So if you ever see a job fair coming up, whether it's through the transition office, whether it's through me, whether it's out in town, and you're still not sure, go and attend. Meet everybody at every single table, because just because, let's say for instance, because it says it's a warehouse, doesn't necessarily mean that they're only looking for warehouse workers. They could be looking for clerical. They could be looking for the nurse at the first aid station. Yeah. Like they could be looking for the next HR person. You never know. So that's the biggest thing of all. You never know. So go and ask.
Are there any other, I think we've kind of highlighted this without meaning to.
I know I'm talking too much.
No, you're good. I love it. Are there any other kind of like common myths or things that, people like bring in or stories you've heard, I guess?
About my service?
Maybe like what are the common things you see day to day?
So first of all, when it comes to my service, I have heard so many times, I heard you can get me a job. No, 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 no. I will help you get ready to get a job, but I don't get you the job. You get you your job. Mm-hmm. Okay, because I can't get it for you. We are not a placement agency. Number 2 myth is that military spouses are not in tune with what is needed out in either the private sector or the workforce in general.
Yeah.
And that's not true because, like I said earlier, we do it all the time. No matter what, we still have it. Let's say, for instance, we have a spouse that's a nurse, and I do have a few of them that are nurses, but they haven't been working in a medical office or a hospital in like at least a year or two. But they kept up their licensure. Well, it doesn't mean they lost their skill. They'll always have the skill. Everybody still have the skill. It's just they need to go ahead and stretch their legs, get back into the system, and then just go ahead and continue doing what they do best.
Exactly.
That's the biggest thing of all. Last one is, I would say, with military spouses, when the active duty member deploys, I've heard that, well, they're just going to leave. No, if you give them a reason to stay, your spouse will stay. And what I mean by that is just because a member deploys, if a spouse has a need to stay here, that like say they have a really great job, they don't want to lose because it helps with their career, they're gonna stay. Mm-hmm. If they are, or if that particular spouse, their active duty member is going to retire, well, most of the companies love it when our active duty members here stay, but they can't stay and they can't afford to unless the military spouse is working too.
Yeah.
Give them a chance, because if the military spouse works in a great company, then the active duty member might also want to be with that company, and then they've just enhanced their workforce by even more.
Yeah. Someone's deploying, they stay because they have that job, or even, as you said, a spouse retiring. If they have that job, like their spouse might stay with them because now it's just a chance for their career to shine and be on the forefront.
It's job security is what everybody's looking for. Mm-hmm. So if you provide a spouse with job security, that active duty member, that transitioning member, they're like, oh, we'll stay too. They like that better.
Or it puts a lot more thought process into the conversation.
It's harder for a military spouse to up and leave if they've got something that they enjoy doing here. Mm-hmm. That it'd be harder for them to try to find somewhere else.
I guess, is there anything you wish like maybe hiring officials knew about military spouses or businesses?
The one thing I would love all our employers out there to know is that our military spouses are your untapped resource. Okay, it's an untapped resource, and they really need to go in and explore that, because there are so many spouses out there that are looking for jobs, and all they need is a chance. They are willing to learn. If they don't have the skill you're looking for, trust me, they are willing to learn every single one of them. Okay, and if it would be a lot easier to go ahead and mold that spouse into your company than it would be to go ahead and look for someone that already has the skill and they've had it for years, but they refuse to do it your way also.
Yeah.
So it's a training opportunity with a spouse is going to be so much easier.
Is there anything else you would like to add before we go?
I want to say that if you're a spouse looking for employment or looking for how to improve your resume, or even learning how to do a resume or get over, I'd say, the hiccups of interviewing, give me a call. Go down to ACS. They have a trifold with my actual QR code. I do appointments by QR code. They can log on the QR code or give me a call at ACS. either here at Fort Stewart or over at Hunter. I will answer all calls. And make an appointment or come to my classes. I've got classes also if you want to learn it that way.
Are the classes online? Like, are they posted?
So online, I do have resources for online classes. So if they can't see me, then we can do that. I conduct my classes hybrid, so in person here at Fort Stewart, and they can join online from Hunter. They just get on their computer to do that. You just got to register. So it's easier that way. Like I said, I do go back and forth, but majority of the classes are taught here. So if they want to learn, I'd be happy to teach. That's not a problem.
Yes. Well, I would love to learn from you. You seem like a fun teacher, too.
I very much try not to do death by PowerPoint. It's just not me.
Yeah.
It's not me. It's all hands-on.
I love that. Well, thank you so much. I know I learned a lot, and I hope our audience did too. To stay up to date on Fort Stewart-Hunter Army Airfield activities, please follow us on social media and download the My Army Post app. Thank you, Emeline, so much for joining me. It was a pleasure talking with you.
Same here. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm Kelsey Stieber, and that concludes this episode of the Marne Report. See you next week.
The My Army Post app is your one-stop source for all things Fort Stewart-Hunter Army Airfield. With map at your fingertips, you'll never miss out on upcoming events, installation updates, facility and gate information, weather, shopping, and so much more. My Army Post is free from your phone's app store. Download today.